I have 4 kids, a busy wife, and I am a data hoarder. We all have at least 2 devices, and that's a lot of pictures and videos. Today, I do what you do. We copy these to a disk or just ignore them. Actually, I always go one step further and copy them to a second disk and then my home server. But that's a lot of copying and a lot of files. So I decided I would spend the extra dosh and invest. Yes, that is the correct word, invest in a NAS device. So you're wondering, can a NAS really replace my trusted process and home server? Short answer is yes, for many people, including myself. In this video, I will explain how a NAS compares to a home server and who it's for. Around midway, I'll explain why I chose my NAS device and, as I am a planner, my process that we together will use to set it up. Finally, I'll walk you through setting up one of the newest offerings available from Synology today, the DS925 Plus, step by step. Oh, and if you're new to this, don't worry, I'll keep it simple. Let's start by comparing what I think makes up a home server versus a NAS device, what they are, and what makes them different from each other. Firstly, I see a home server as a general-purpose PC, maybe a very old Windows computer that is running server-like tasks. For example, you manual copy backup paste solution, or you have added file shares for the family and possibly you're running some software for camera surveillance or even Plex. Maybe if you're more technical, you could be running Docker workloads or a virtual machine or two. Generally, a PC is more flexible, but usually requires more work. Now, a NAS device, short for network attached storage, I see as basically a box of disks, hence a dedicated storage device that is connected to your network. It is almost always used for file backups and file sharing. The good news is that in today's more advanced devices, though, the manufacturers have expanded their capabilities to include remote access to your files and loads of software for camera surveillance, Plex, VMs, Dockers, and a whole plethora of other tools. Finally, as these devices are owned independently, their makers have an army of software engineers that develop software interoperability through their proprietary mini operating systems. For example, the Synology device that we will talk about soon used DSM, whereas another manufacturer, QNAP, has developed QTS for their brand of NAS devices. Now, after all that talk, let me show you a table that may be useful for those who prefer pictures. Feel free to pause the video at this point to review each column at your own pace. I hope you enjoyed that last table and you found what I've said so far useful. If you liked the video so far and want me to produce more, please let me know in the comments below. And of course, click subscribe so you can get notified when I publish more of them. So far, I talked quite a bit about the benefits of a NAS, but there are times when a dedicated PC as a home server is the option that is better for you. In my opinion, I would stick to a DIY PC solution if any of the following is a must-have for you. If you need to run multiple VMs, if you need to run a game server for Minecraft or Steam, more demanding Docker workloads, definitely a PC, not a NAS. If you want full control over the OS, for example, if you need Ubuntu Server or Proxmox. You really do not want to throw away that old PC and you prefer to dedicate time and effort in making it work with the things you have or need, stick with your PC and don't get a NAS. Let's now flip across to the NAS option again. I think that the following use cases work for where NAS is the better or good enough option. If you want central family backups for laptops, phones, etc. If you have media server requirements for Plex or DLNA. If you want remote file access like your own personal Dropbox or OneDrive. To back up your cloud storage like your OneDrive cloud storage or your Google Drive, etc. If you have IP camera recordings, if you want to use Time Machine on the Apple devices or Windows backup targets, occasional Docker or basic web apps like WordPress or Bitwarden, etc. That's kind of what NAS needs. And this is where I'd like to add that although I see my European family as pretty large with enough devices to drive this techie dad crazy, I decided that a NAS is the right option for us at this point. Now, to follow up on a promise I made earlier, why Synology? Well, like I said, I'm a planner, and to add, I dive pretty deep into my research when I need to spend money. For my family's needs, I did not want just a box of disks stuffed full of space, but a system with a good set of tools and that are proven to work well and give me the flexibility to expand in future years. I saw that only Synology has this in the market today. It has the experience and breadth of knowledge to provide good support to its user base, be it for software and its hardware offerings. On the negative side, Synology has a premium price point. It also made a very controversial decision for all its 2025 models, like the one that I will show you soon, to close its hardware compatibility and not support non-Synology branded disks. There are a lot of strong opinions out there on this and other recent decisions from the company, but I still think for my situation, this is the best solution for us. Right, I hope I have not bored you with all the talk, so let's dive into setting up my NAS device. Now, for all new devices, one has to prepare. To help you out, I have come up with the following things that you need to plan for before even unboxing your shiny new NAS. A small warning, this part can get technical at times, so please pause and read up on how to do that particular step or action, as your setup at home and your needs and hence decisions could be different to mine. So, firstly, as a best practice, you will need to assign a fixed IP address to the NAS device. You will need to create accounts in various areas, so if you do not have a Synology account, create one now and have its details ready when you start the device. Decide the admin login account. It's not an email address, plus what its password will be. Keep it safe and not written down anywhere. What other family users do you need to create on the device to access the device? They also need accounts. Maybe a non-admin user for yourself at least. There's no maybe to that. You need a non-admin user for yourself. Maybe one account per child for their dedicated area and devices. I've included a link to help you with this below in the description. If you need remote access for your data, be prepared to set up your Synology QuickConnect ID name. Next, decide what RAID setup you will choose. Personally, I am choosing SHR for my device because it gives me the speed of RAID 5 with good future flexibility in case I want to expand. Look it up if you don't know what that is. Then, decide if you want to encrypt or not. I do not recommend this as it complicates matters in the future in case you have issues with the device or its disks. Finally, decide when to automatically empty the recycle bin. How many days? Hey, sorry to interrupt. This is Future George popping in to add a little note to this list. After building the system, by following these steps, I realized that I missed one point. The system will start an optimization process that could take many hours. More importantly, whilst it's doing this, you are not allowed to shut it down. Mine took over 20 hours to complete, but yours could be longer, depending on how many disks and the speed. Please plan for this. So, for example, if you're building this device in your kitchen, maybe doing it in the corner out of the way or somewhere else is a good idea. Oh, and during this process, the NAS will be a lot slower at doing things. So do not worry that you have a slow device. You don't. It is just busy. Now that your decisions are made, let's move to the physical aspect of the NAS. This is a 4-bay Synology DS925 Plus model, which comes with 2 network cables, security keys, and some screws. It does have quite a hefty power supply, but at least in a very short cable. This side is long and this side is short. For the disks, I have chosen to go with Synology's 16 terabyte disk option and bought 4 because I can get the maximum capacity on the device in this way, again for my needs. Your disk capacity may be different, and to help you, Synology have provided a tool which I will put a link to in the description below. It's called a RAID calculator. I have also decided to add 2 optional M.2 disk drives and more memory, which I don't have yet. Both these optional components will help me during the daily usage of my NAS by making it faster at doing certain tasks. If you'd like to find out more about the benefits of these 2 optional upgrades, have a look at the videos from some experts I have linked below. In short, my M.2 drives will house my virtual machines, and the extra memory, which I will receive soon, will speed up general NAS performance and assist with VM speed as well. Okay, let's start building. Oh, and Synology makes it super simple, so you don't need any tools, unless you have opted to buy the smaller disks that this NAS device supports. And so you will need the small screwdriver and the supplied screws that Synology gives. Specific for this DS925 model, to install the extra memory that you may have bought, eject the disk housing like this. All 4. And then, one by one, add the memory modules into their dedicated slots in this hidden internal compartment here. Now let's install the disks. You can install the disks as follows. I made a mistake. These disks are inserted correctly. This one didn't fit correctly. That's because, if you notice, I put it backwards. Alright, that's another reason why it doesn't fit properly. Let's try this again, turning it around. Right, once you have them installed, it's very simply take them and you slot them back in again. The thing about this is that it feels a bit weird, but when you push them in and you clip them in place, it's flush and they won't fall out. Don't try to force it in. It should go gently in and slide nice and gently. Always check you're doing it the right way. And the last one. This doesn't go in properly. What did I do wrong? It was not clipped in properly on the side. And that's it. Now that we have the disks installed, let's install the M.2 NVMe drives underneath the device. These are the two little boys. Turn the device over. And there are two slots in the bottom. Clip them out. Open this little device. Take him out of the plastic cover gently. There are two ways that it's possible that this will go in, but only one way works. So don't force it. It has to be, again, very gentle. There's a little slot here which you need to align with the internal socket. So if I align this nicely in there, at an angle, this sits at an angle, and then you gently push down until you hear the click. There we go. Let's try that with the second one. Now, if you've decided to buy one of these and only one of these, which is an option, you don't need to install it on the second slot. So basically in here, I've already put the first one in. But in there, you will see there's a number 2, just there. That is the second slot, and you only need to install it in slot number 1. But you'll see that when it arrives. Same installation process for this one. You put that at an angle, gently move it down. I'm helping it by moving the little lever, and then it's fixed nicely in there. We put the covers back on again. And there we have it. Drives fully installed. So far, so good. Now let's connect the power and the network. Just a small note about the network. you may see that this particular device has 2 network ports. There. But why? Well, you have a few options here. Just use the one. That's it, nothing special there. Of course, you can use both and configure the NAS to fail over in case one of these ports fails. Or you can use both again and configure the NAS to use both the ports as one, hence speeding up some operations. You will also need to have a special switch on the other end of these cables and configure it appropriately as well, or what they call link aggregation. I will use just one for now, as after all, this channel is about basics, and that's all you'll probably need even with a large family and a few devices. Now, of course, if you want to use true failover, redundancy, and port bridging, you will need a more advanced network setup, so this will require a lot more research as they are not plug and play, and configuring this is also dependent on the switch hardware that you have at home. Right, network cable connected. Let's try the power, not the short end, the long end. Again, it's a special connector, so you just have to be careful and plug it in gently. And that's it. For the next part of this video, I will switch to my laptop view so I can show you how I use the planned information from earlier on to configure it for my use cases.